The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of bad. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too evil and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty. Shake!
Earnestly Speaking podcast coming to you January 28th, 2025. It is once again the Schooner Report, of course, with the man Kyle F. and Nash with us. We are now officially in Super Bowl mode. Kyle, how are you?
I think it's appropriate that you're wearing a Metallica shirt today for those that are listening to the podcast rather than watching on YouTube, because it's the Super Bowl and nothing else matters. Boom!
Oh my Lord, that was good.
You like it?
That was good.
Keeping on the topic of music, we got to address Gee Steelio, Gee Steelio, of course, our old friend, and the crafter of the Earnestly Speaking theme song here. I finally figured out he says a giant in New York. He should probably say a cowboy in New York.
No.
To make it more accurate with your fanhood there.
No.
It fits. No. I'm a cowboy in New York.
One day I'm going to have you rap that song, and I'll use the intro one day for the show.
I mean, I listen, I am happy to perform it, but I demand lyrical license to talk whatever shit I want.
Oh, boy. That's scary, knowing you and how you are.
Talented is the word you're looking for.
Yeah, well, talented, yes. I don't know if I can. I don't know if my ego or my mental health can handle that. Well, I mean, we are winding down the weekly Student Reports here on the podcast, but we're going to have more of these on the offseason as well too. Also, because Student Report isn't just a football. Yes, it is mainly football focused, but we, of course,
sports media is mainly football.
We do a lot of sports media talk on here.
But now that I cover the Orlando Magic for the Fans First Sports Network, yes, I do a lot more NBA. And, we would do it every week, but you're afraid that my basketball skills would surpass yours in public, and I would dunk on you.
I also need a break.
Another sport.
I also need a break from you for a little while.
Go ahead, bitch.
You still mad about last night's game? Orlando losing to Miami?
And listen, I'm not a Magic fan per se, but when they do better, I do better. I like covering cool shit. I've said that on this show.
Yes, of course.
Watching that happen and knowing the Magic have a 5-game road trip out west.
Yeah, that's a bad timing for that too. Also,
and now they're 5. I think they're 500 now with 20. This is a team that was supposed to host a playoff series, and at this point, granted, there's still like 30-something games left in the season, but 20% of nearly 20% of them are out west here in the next week, right? And you're supposed to be hosting a series right now. You're seated as a play-in behind the Pistons. That's a problem.
Yeah. When is Franz back? Franz Wagner.
Well, Franz has been back since Portland. He's
been back. Okay.
Yeah, since Portland, and that was arguably the worst loss of the season, depending on which Magic fan you talk to. Wagner did his job, by the way. He and De Silva got 36 points combined, which is about just under half of their 79. They're whopping 79 points. I know women's college basketball teams that put up 79 points. Okay, so but then the big deal was they got Jalen Suggs back. So they had their big three against the Pistons. That game they won on Saturday. However, they did not have Suggs against your Heat. So go Heat, bitch. Although the Heat didn't have Jimmy. So
Well, they're not going to have Jimmy. No, probably not going to have Jimmy ever again because he's out indefinitely. Which I will react at the end of this podcast myself on that situation because I got.
So you're trying to say you're going to suspend your reaction to Jimmy Butler? Yeah? That's
correct. That's coming in the podcast since you're out of here. But let's focus on the NFL quick. We are, of course. Yeah, that's right. We We are now Super Bowl bound. Chiefs and Eagles once again. 2 years later, it's like turning into the Rock versus Stone Cold Steve Austin situation in WrestleMania, where like they meet every 2 years now or something. Anyway, first things first. Eagles beat the Commanders 55-23 on any NFC title game. Kyle, your big takeaway from the NFC title game?
I think we learned more about the Commanders than we did the Eagles. In fairness, now granted, what I learned about the Eagles, I knew that defense was good, but damn, okay. That was a great performance by them. And again, taking nothing. Saquon did Saquon shit. I don't think we're fooling anybody here. But for me, the game was out of hand the moment the alleged veteran, Marshawn Lattimore, came in starting to try to fight mofos. And by the way, Lattimore is one of my favorite DBs to watch. Unfortunately, he does come with the baggage that a lot of skill players do in the form of ego. And you got to have some ego as an NFL skill player.
Correct.
You know, we've had that conversation many times. You don't do battle as among the best of the best without believing in yourself, right? Mm-hmm. You know, this is why I dunk on you repeatedly and taunt you. I have a huge ego.
It's like Dr. Cox. I have a giant ego.
Dude, I can't tell you. I can't tell you how many years ago it was, but I'm pretty sure I did that on your show. I have a giant ego.
I think you've done it multiple times actually on the show.
Well, and something else I do multiple times because it happens so much is talk about how you're wrong.
Shut up.
Wrong. You're wrong. Listen, I'm teasing a future podcast that we might actually get around to talking about scrubs on this show.
Oh, yeah. A show that's like 5 years in the making, though.
It's a little too on the nose considering that you're a scrub yourself. Anyway, oh no! Offer downtown! He's so cruel! Hey, listen, I called Jim a bitch on his show. It's fine.
It's funny. Like, as you were saying that, I just realized I'm looking at my, I collect these from time to time. And I have my Funko Pops. There's Dr. Cox.
You have the. By the way, make sure you watch the YouTube channel version with the crossed arms. That's perfect.
Yeah,
that's how
newbie. Okay.
The oddest Funko Pop I saw was old school White Men Can't Jump Billy Ho and Sidney Dean.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not done yet. I got Dr. Turk.
You have Turkleton?
Turkleton. Yes.
That's awesome. The thumbs up is perfect.
I do collect these from time to time. But I'm more particular with who I want, though. You know,
I know you're particular about who you want. Your wife is beautiful.
Of course. Thank you. Mikey B got me the Lamar Jackson one, as you guys saw on the Huddle Up podcast weeks ago. Bing. And I got Metallica one. I got James Hetfield here. I got a Prince one also too.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yep. I need some MJ ones though.
I'm not going to try to do an imitation of Prince that is out of my voice range.
Don't have to be. No, it's kidding. Anyway,
you don't have to be. Sorry.
But back to the game though. So for me, the takeaway for me more than anything else. Well, first of all, that score was not indicative of how that game was like.
You know what? Real talk. I have to own up and mention something that and again, it was a theorem. I never confirmed it. You were the one that actually adopted it more than I did.
Okay. What is it?
This power vacuum is bullshit. It's those two teams, sure, but the Eagles are fine. Okay,
Eagles are more than fine. Yeah, and I think
this is not the same team that got dropped last year by the Bucks.
Yeah,
let me be clear.
Yeah, I think number 26 has a lot to do with that. That's damn sure.
All right, nothing from Jalen Hurts. He fulfills his.
Oh, he did very well. I'm a big fan of Jalen Hurts, obviously. All right, AFC title game. Chiefs win 32-29. They go to their third straight Super Bowl. For a chance to be the first team in the Super Bowl era to three-peat. Your takeaway from that game, sir?
It was a great game.
It was,
in my opinion. However, the issue for me was it ended with a whimper, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen had a chance to take that bitch into overtime and was just rendered fucking useless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was the refs? Shut your entire ass up. The refs did not end this game. Garbage ass play calling did. And by the way, you know how I feel about calling out play calling. It's usually those who are ignorant most of the sport that talk about play calling. Yeah. However, EJ Christian, everything is case sensitive. There's an exception to every rule. And this is why I lean on play calling here. You're on 4th and short. You're opting to quarterback sneak because the tush push is a fucking country line dance, not a football play. And Jif is peanut butter, not the name of a mobile image. Anyway. So
I feel like we have that conversation before in this podcast years ago.
Yes, and you were probably dunked. No, I think we actually agree that it's GIF, right?
It's GIF.
Yeah. This is one of the ones. There you go, EJ Christian.
It's GIF. Yes.
So, see, I give you credit when you get something right.
Thank you.
But
not very often though. But yeah, thank you.
I mean, that's a you problem, Chief.
Stop being wrong.
Did you just bounce it off the backboard and dunk on yourself?
Exactly.
No, but for those that don't know exactly how it works, and I don't know it completely because I'm not right, but
right.
Who was calling that game? It would have been Romo.
Yeah, Romo
and Nance, right?
Yeah.
So leading up to the game, they'll have meetings with the guys calling the game and go over the clandestine shit that they need to know to call the game effectively. And you know, that's why Tom Brady isn't allowed in those meetings, is because let's say the Chiefs come in, and as a Raiders owner, he would be in a compromised position to give that information. Like, let's say that the Raiders, in this case, go up to Tom Brady. Now, granted, it wouldn't be the Raiders typically because Tom Brady works for Fox and he'd be calling the NFC game, but details.
Correct. Yeah.
But let's say the Raiders come in and say, they're playing the Bills, let's say, hey, we know that Josh Allen runs it left every time, so watch for that. You know, not that it's exactly how the conversation would go, but they're briefed before the game. And you heard Romo and Nance cite that Kansas City knows they're going left. That means the defensive staff for Kansas City walked in those production meetings earlier that week, days before the game, fucking knowing exactly what the Bills were doing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like that they went for 2. That's a separate conversation, and I'm not saying that I agree with it. The analytics say do it, but as somebody who's a data person for a living, you have to understand what analytics don't tell you, and they don't tell you that Chris Jones is the student of the game defensive player of the year for a fucking reason. That Karlaftis is a badass and has been for a minute, and the only thing that's going to get him out of Kansas City is, well, money.
But Chris Jones is a cool dude, man. Like, you look at him, really cool dude. Very humble.
Not just cool, like, he is a good human being, and like,
yes, yeah,
not just because of his religion, like, but although that's a big part of his life, like,
is it really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, when I went to the Super Bowl 2 years ago with the 3-point conversion, a lot of people were there just to interview him about his faith. It was very interesting.
Yeah, he's very, because it's amazing. He's a very, like, I want to call him sensitive because I hate using that word. Men who cry, please. Men could cry. It's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with being sensitive. It's
absolutely. And yet, this dude plays probably one of the most, if not the most badass position on that side of the ball, right in the trenches. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
He's nice and a sweet human being, but will fuck your entire shit up on the field.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. So that's what I get from him when I see him.
And you're not wrong. You're not wrong. And, exactly. And so with all that in mind, analytics can't count for that juggernaut. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And you have to be, risky as it was, it's hard for me to scold asking Josh Allen to leap the entire fuck over the top of the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
My reaction would have been, nice catch, Hayes. Don't ever fucking do it again, for those that have seen Major League, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, nice play, guys. Don't do it again.
Funny you mentioned that too. Also, I mentioned to my wife, I want to watch that again. Like, I love the first 2 especially. The third one's not bad. The second
one is crap.
The second one, well, in comparison to the first one, yes, I agree.
It's crap, kind of. Period. The third one, knows what it is.
But here's the weird thing about the second one though too. Also, I saw the second one first as a kid.
Yeah.
And so I followed that one first. Obviously, the first one's better. I agree. Better cast. Although I don't mind Omar Epps, but let's be real. Wesley Snipes was better.
That's right. Mike Tomlin was in that. I forgot.
Correct. Exactly. But I don't hate the second one though. But I think the second one was more watered down compared to the first.
I would encourage you to watch Hilarity by Default's
already did
quiet viewing.
I already did that one. Yes, I did.
You saw all the little media cues.
Yeah, correct. Yes, I did. Yes.
That's somebody went the extra mile to figure that out. Overall, Major League 2 is disappointing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. Look at broadly. Yes. Yes. Definitely a little drop off. I agree. All right. So as we've been doing, we've done since the end of the season. We have come down to
plane on this though.
Oh, go ahead.
It wasn't the refs.
Okay.
Joe Brady lost that game. You've been letting James cook all year. And then on 4th and 1, you take his ass off the field. Oh, but Josh Allen got it. I don't know, man. Looked pretty fucking close to me. And it certainly wasn't enough to overturn it with the call on the field of him being.
I agree, 100%. And a lot of people who hate the Chiefs is to say that it's because they hate the Chiefs. Like, get out of that mindset. I get it. They're frustrating.
They hate the Bills. They love the Chiefs, which is ironic because wasn't it just last year that the refs allegedly cost the Chiefs at least 2 games, right? The fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
Thank you. All right, as we've been doing all year, all playoffs long, since the end of the regular season, we give final letter grades to the teams that are eliminated. We have done that all playoff long. We're now down to Super Bowl week. So before we say we enter Super Bowl 59, we say goodbye to the 2 teams that participated in championship weekend. So first things first, let's get first to the NFC loser, the Washington Commanders, who ended the year 12-5. Letter grade, Kyle.
Oh, it was. You said it was. I didn't hear the team. I'm sorry.
Oh, Washington Commanders.
The Red Tails. Yes. See.
Yeah.
Now you've eventually
right.
pulled into the bit now.
Yeah, right.
How do you not give them an A plus even? How?
Same.
I mean, if there's an argument, I'll hear it at the SOTG on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, Threads, Student of the Game on Facebook. I'll hear the argument. But I don't know how you avoid unless, and it's magnanimous of you as a Cowboys fan to do it, but unless you're an Eagles fan, I don't see how, even regardless of the fact that you let the Eagles drop 55 on you, I think that was more about the roster than it was about the team's performance.
And again, the game was
talking to every Red Tails fan Commanders fan that I have, the reaction is we're playing with house money. If you have fans of a team using the phrase, we're playing with house money after getting fucking bombed, having 55 points dropped on them, it has to be an A plus, right?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, first off, that's as I said earlier in the pod. That score was not indicative of the game. The game was a lot closer than that score.
No.
No. The turnovers, the costly turnovers and costly moments, especially in the first half, did them in, number one. But I still think even without those turnovers, they still lose the game. This is a little bit closer.
They got unraveled, EJ.
Yeah, because they were down. Remember, they were down 2 right before the half.
I understand.
And then
it unraveled.
And then the turnover happened, and another turnover happened, and it just.
And Josh,
right?
Marshawn Lattimore, decided
exactly.
So they were not of the right mindset.
Right, they were in that game, and then everything fell apart. So that being said, the only argument I can give, by the way, I'm also A plus. The only argument I can say if someone had a counter argument would be like, well, they got lucky on the Bears game and a couple other games where they got lucky in 1-score games, and
everybody gets lucky.
But look at the Kansas City Chiefs. They've done this all year long, and they're still in the Super Bowl. So what are we doing?
Don't have to jump right to the Chiefs.
No, right. But I'm saying that the same way, like win close games.
Teams that are where they are because of luck. Let's be clear. Looking at you, Houston Texans. Right.
And again, there is value also in win close games because most games in NFL are fairly tight. So there is value in that.
The Jacksonville Jaguars are 3-10 in 1-score games over, and I forget the period of time.
At least 2 years?
I think it's got to be, right?
Right. But still.
At the same time, the Chiefs might be perfect.
Yeah, they've won 17 games in a row winning 1-score games. That's insane. And again,
part of that is being a defensive team,
and part of it also too. You're gonna hate when I'm gonna say this. Go ahead and say it.
It's not pedigree. It's Patrick Mahomes in the second. You see, here's what you're wrong. First of all, pedigree is not the correct word. They have culture. They might have tradition at this point. They don't have pedigree. Pedigree implies that Patrick Mahomes the second. That's right. Patrick LeVon Mahomes the second. And Travis Michael Kelsey have sons on the team. That has not happened yet. Okay, so stop. That's been the wrong diction for weeks. Not that that's ever stopped you before, but since you're doing it, I get a chance to put another bruise on that big forehead of yours by dunking on you. Okay,
well, I'm not gonna stop now though. I mean, it's
right?
A thing.
No, you're invested too hard. I get it.
In fact, I may make a shirt for that now. Attention, pedigree with the Chiefs, like something. Maybe.
Great. That's what you need. More art. Anyway,
yes.
No, but.
We'll be on my show this time, though.
Right. Yeah, exactly. T Public.
Yes, right. Let's go.
No, but all that, I mean, yeah, the culture is there though, clearly.
Yeah.
A Rose by any other name is still putting a position for a new GOAT coach and a proper GOAT quarterback.
Right. And we'll get to them. I was get to them next week, whenever year ends. I'm fascinated by the Commanders now going forward because I don't know the exact number, but they're going to have a boatload of cap room this offseason, apparently.
Well, it also helps when your quarterback's a rookie and a badass, right?
When you nail the quarterback in year one, you have a lot of leash now to spend money on free agents. You now made yourself attractive as an organization. I don't know if you saw the news about Daniel Snyder this weekend. Apparently, he's really pissed off that the Commanders are doing so well now.
Well, hey, don't run your fucking organization like a crime syndicate. How about that?
Exactly. So the Commanders. This is my one fear of the Commanders though next year. And granted, they did one game better than this team did the year before that. That now next year they're going to be the sexy pick next season. You know, like you remember
expectations are the thief of
right.
joy.
You remember Houston last year?
I don't have to remember Houston last year. I can remember Jacksonville 2 years ago, covering them.
Correct.
Fans for Sports Network and the Duval Dive podcast.
Houston was that team last year. Yeah. You know, with CJ Stroud, and they're
that team this year. They just happened to make the goddamn playoffs.
They did the same. Well, they actually did the same thing last year. They 10-7, won a playoff game.
They weren't last year. Last year, it was always the Jags was the rallying cry, and they beat the Jags out by a single season because the friggin' Jags lost to the Titans in Week 18.
Right. This year, they matched everything the year before that, but it felt disappointing because. Well, for me, first off,
they made the playoffs because they play in the AFC
South. Correct.
Let's just cut to the chase.
Yeah, absolutely. So my fear is that Washington will become that team next year, where like everybody's saying, "Oh, that's the team to beat next year," and then they might not match what they did this year because of we expect the power vacuum, if you will. But we'll see.
And it's a good take that you're making. The difference is, so long as the Eagles, I think the pressure remains on the Eagles more.
Always does.
Commanders. Because if the Eagles drop off, then they could still be the underdog and come to the mountain, and there's still another level, right?
Yeah. No, the Eagles should be favorites because the Eagles have the better roster. They have the elite.
I mean, speaking of rookie quarter, well, he's not a rookie, but he's actually paid, so it's different with Jalen Hurts.
I mean, you have a top 10 quarterback, the best running back in football, arguably a top 3 receiving core in the league, probably top best defense in the league.
Let's not pretend that Christian McCaffrey doesn't exist. He's just been hurt. Okay.
Saquon's better than McCaffrey.
You're just wrong.
Stop. We have not had a conversation.
You stop.
Top 3, yes. Best running back in the league, no. Saquon's better.
Wrong.
Whatever. And you're Homer.
So are you, Jaworski.
Well, I missed that guy. Oh, I said wear that shirt today, man. Damn. Anyway, but yeah, my one fear of the Commanders is that they may fall into that trap of, okay, now we're here.
Yeah, listen, sophomore slumps are a thing. You're right.
Yes, so let's hope that has happened. All right, finally, the AFC loser for this weekend, the Buffalo Bills, end of the year 14-3.
I know people are going to take huge diarrhea dumps all over the Bills. However, people like you, like me, and others said this team wouldn't even make the fucking playoffs. Playoffs?
Right.
Now, granted, part of it was Miami disappearing for however many weeks when Tua Tagovailoa was hurt. You know, that certainly threw off my bracket. If I know that was going to happen, the Bills would have made the playoffs. You, however, thought the Browns and the Jets were going to be a thing. That's not the same.
Yeah.
I own that.
I own that.
A- at worst. I'm going to put down an A.
I got an A too. I was talking about A+ too also, but I felt like so I course corrected the Bills pretty quickly also in the year. Like I figured out my error in my ways pretty early. Like by week 3, week 4, I was like, no, they're making the playoffs. They win the division, run away with it, and they might be a problem.
Well, by then we had seen Tua Tagovailoa get hurt, so let's be accurate here.
The Jets was the Jets, and the Pats, of course, just terrible. So, but it was actually more about Buffalo and what they were doing, I think.
I mean, the surroundings don't hurt, though. Let's be clear.
Right. Well, remember coming to the year, my reasoning for Buffalo missing the playoffs. Look, I had them going 10-7.
Playoffs?
But my reason about Buffalo missing the play was more so the environment. More so, I thought there's too many good
thought
teams.
The division would be harder.
Right. I thought Josh Allen would have a great year, but it's kind of a sneaky rebuilding year because you have a younger team now. But
AFC East divisional physics are among the weirder in the NFL.
Certainly. So that was my mindset going into the year. Having said that, now all those teams shit the bed this year. Buffalo had and Buffalo's ran with the whole thing. I think even the teams were good. They probably still win the division because Buffalo impressed this year. Josh Allen MVP.
I can't. Well, the Jets maybe. The Dolphins would have been interesting, maybe, but they would have made it more interesting. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So I had to go A with the Buffalo Bills. And I think I think their window is. I think honestly, getting rid of Diggs and whatnot. I think with this core improvement they did this year, I think their window is still fairly open for another couple of years. Honestly,
it's open as wide as it's going to get. I think. Seriously, what do you fix at this point? What do you fix?
They are right there with KC. Every game they play against KC, they're in it. They literally are a possession away from winning that game.
If they don't win it, period.
Right. So it's not like KC's the down. No, KC and Buffalo play to a wash. It's just that other team has Pat Mahomes.
Yeah.
That's it.
The postseason success favors Patrick LeVon Mahomes II in the Chiefs.
Right. So Buffalo is literally just, I don't even think they need a player. I just think they're just need to get over the hump.
By the way, it'll be a very interesting conversation we have after the Super Bowl because I think the Chiefs are due to decline and do so hard. But we'll get to that another time.
Ooh, that's an off-season topic we'll get to. Definitely. But I have to give it A, man. Great job by Sean McDermott. And this is the guy who's on the hot seat before the year started. Clearly, it's fine. So there's that, So, all right. Let's talk about real quick. No predictions here, but just kind of give me your feel right now on the Super Bowl. Eagles, we got 12 days before kickoff. So, no predictions here because I don't have any predictions this year.
For all the whiny bitches who are saying, I don't have any interest in the Super Bowl. You're part of the fucking problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't care who you are or what you do or what you're hosting. People's problem with greatness is asinine. But Kyle, you were critical of Tom Brady. I didn't mean I didn't like watching the games. I never was this ass that said, I just don't care. Don't lie to me. You're going to watch the fucking game because everybody in America watches the fucking game because it's a national holiday.
Yeah.
Stop being a douche. You're watching the game. This is up there with people. I'm moving to Canada. No, the fuck you're not.
I love that analogy.
All right?
I love that analogy.
Ass is going to watch the game and maybe you'll be angry at it. Maybe you'll go off on Twitter and it's your right to do any of that. But don't lie to me. Don't lie to yourself. And say, I don't care. I'm not interested. Bullshit. Okay? What is people's problem? Help me, EJ. I still don't understand why people hate Patrick LeVon Mahomes II.
I feel like you and I at this point in our world, not just Huddle Up, but just our world in general, are probably the only two guys that literally are like standing toe-to-toe on this whole thing with the Chiefs and Mahomes. Like
are alleging, are honest about the fact that they aren't walking away. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there are Eagles fans and Chiefs fans, yourself included, that have their ties to watch the game. I am a fan of neither franchise. Hell, if anybody should be complaining about originality or lack thereof is me. I covered these two teams already in person. I'd like a different pairing too. I had it against the 49ers. Sorry. Now my homerism is coming out. Let me settle down. Punchline this though. Forget about the fact that the Chiefs three-peating is what America needs. So morons like you stop trying to force feed Tom Brady as the GOAT down my throat. It's not true. And by the way, it would be precisely delicious for Tom Brady to have to watch Patrick LeVon Mahomes II take his crown right off his head, right in his stupid, pretty face. Okay?
It's pretty though. But I will say this though: Tom Brady has one.
I've always said
Tom Brady has one thing going against Mahomes. Has one thing going with Mahomes. Beat him twice.
No, sir. Okay.
You can all you want. You beat him twice.
D. Ford beat.
I understand that. I understand that
as a saboteur and having no offensive line, and you're still playing good enough that guys that are catching passes from Thomas Edward, Patrick Bieber, Brady are amazed by him in an effort with a blowout.
Hold on a second.
Don't do that
Tom,
stupid, lazy bullshit.
Tom, he's making fun of you again. Yeah,
What's he going to do? What's that tiny, pretty man going to do?
It's the large guy. Yeah, the large Kyle. Yeah.
To protect him.
Yeah, the large guy. Kyle, the green shirt, student game. Yeah.
There you go.
I mean,
he said, come for your ass later.
Oh, great. I mean, that sounds more like your social
in makeup. Yeah, allegedly. No. And again, you and I have been on this for the last 2 years now. Like, there's a top 3 all-time core. Where we're going to put it, I don't give a shit. Montana, Mahomes, and Brady. Mahomes is there. If he does this, I think it's more impressive because I think
it's unanimous that he's past Joe if that happens.
Yeah. This is more impressive than Brady for one reason. And I'm not knocking Brady here. This is why I'm going to defend Mahomes heavily.
Yeah, he's right there behind you. Of course you won't, right?
Yeah. Sorry, Tom. I got to do this.
Show what it is to have integrity in journalism.
No, because we have, again, it goes back to what I've been saying. And look, every year at this time on this podcast, I say this, and it has not ended yet. This is by far the greatest 7-year run of a quarterback and team we've ever seen in the history of this league. Again, the same guy that the earliest his season ends is the AFC title game.
But enough about Andy Reid.
Right. Again, Brady, when he won his first 3, was not the guy yet.
That was a defensive team, correct?
Right. That was not Pat Mahomes is the guy, and he was the guy from the word go.
And then you took away from his top weapon. Well, hold on. Let's keep some things accurate. Patrick LaVon Mahomes II wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Miami offer a king's ransom to take Tyreek Hill. Andy Reid and the front office draft ridiculously well to beef up the defense. Mahomes maintains, beats the Eagles because the defense got beat down the field and fouled to try to escape and failed to disguise it. Cram your refs up your ass on that. The player himself, props to Bradbury for being noble, admitted the foul. So stop.
Right.
Next, this is the year they became a defensive team officially. Remember, some of us were talking about it last year.
Yeah.
Mahomes is the guy, but statistically, he hasn't been what he has been. Okay.
True.
So,
but again, what he was doing,
he is the guy on offense, is what I'm saying.
Correct. But here's the thing, though. This is not fair to Mahomes too. Also, and I'm not saying you're doing this. Is that he was putting up godly numbers early in his career that we expect him to maintain that, and when he doesn't do that, we think, oh, he's not playing as well, or no, he's adjusted.
Well,
the team's more metamorphosized.
There's regressing to the mean, and then there's increasing in turnovers the way he has. Those are two different things.
He has less weapons now. Yes, he's doing more with less now.
I know the reason why, but what I'm trying to correct is it's not that people are less impressed by his performance. It's more that he's gotten away with more. He's not Brett Favre, but he's looked more like it this year than he has ever before.
Yeah, I will say that. Yeah, I think that's accurate. My early vibe, and look, this is not an official pick. We have days upon days before we can predict this Super Bowl. My early vibe though on this is that I think the Eagles. I'm leaning Eagles right now.
So here's the reason why you're foolish to do that.
Right. I hope I'm wrong. You know me. I hate the Eagles. So
yeah, you're a Chiefs fan. I get
That's
it.
Right. You're damn right. Let the folks know.
You got it, Jaworski.
Thank you.
By the way, how much did it hurt you that Dick Vermeil coached the Chiefs to a Super Bowl instead of your Eagles? Anyways,
right. For real.
Talent, bitch. No.
Jaworski.
How much you're wrong changes by the day, though. And here's the thing.
Okay.
In 2 weeks' time, when the game is played, you might be smarter to do so. Because if the game were next week, I would be dunking on you repeatedly. Okay. This would be Kristaps Porzingis against Cole Anthony. Okay.
Okay.
There's a good basketball reference.
I like that. Boston against Orlando.
And you would have to foul me to stop me from dunking on you. If that was your take, if the Super Bowl were next week. It's in 2 weeks.
Right.
2 weeks is enough time for the Eagles' injuries to properly alleviate. And I don't just mean Jalen Hurts' knee, although that's super important. The center position, They had a starter that was hurt in that playoff game. The backup is going in. He's getting hurt. He got hurt with a knee. The starter had a bad back, and he's playing with a bad back against the Commanders. Can you imagine a center with a bad back trying to run the brotherly shove against Chris Jones? I'd rather not. It would be a horror movie. Sounds like some shit out of Saw, okay?
Yeah.
So that 2 weeks, huge, the best rest. No one has better rest, So yeah, I think that alone makes this a better game than it would have been otherwise. Not who's the winner? People would say Eagles fans, but I think America wins because they better get a better football game that way.
So you're leading KC right now.
I'm not leaning anywhere because I want to see how these injuries progress. And
right. I think my only assessment is that if James Cook can run for 85 yards on 13 carries against that defense, which is very stout for the record, what the hell is Saquon going to do?
I think that's more about the game they were playing,
okay,
the strategy of the defense, than it was about James Cook being, which, for clarity, that dude went off. Like, we talk all this trash on the Bills, but you do realize the 2 single best plays of the day were both made by the Bills, right?
Yeah.
That bomb for a touchdown, that was literally a perfect pass.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't to Coleman or Shakir, right?
Yeah.
And I forget who it was to, but it was like the third or fourth receiver. It certainly wasn't a Kincaid, but I don't want to give him a hard time for dropping the ball because that was a tough ass catch.
That's a lot of that.
This was not Mark Andrews, okay?
Right.
So, but it's clear that you have to be more scared of Josh Allen getting free money than James Cook, simmering his way down the field. The second best play of the game was Cook, though, willing his ass into the end zone, clearly stopped 2 yards out.
Yeah.
Go look at the replay of that touchdown he got. Man, it was friggin' gorgeous. So that all being said, obviously, I think there's 2 ways to do it. Make them beat you with somebody other than Saquon. I think that's a bad move because the roster is too good across. AJ Brown and Devonta Smith are just too good. And then Dallas Goedert's a good tight end. They have too many weapons, and their offensive line is too good at protection to win the day. I think they need to do it the same way they won the first Super Bowl. Make sure that Jalen hurts the Eagles. See what I did there?
Right.
You need creative blitzes like you did to seal the game, by the way. That corner blitz.
Spags, man. What a fucking
there are times the commentary says, "Oh, that was a great play." I'm like, no, the tackle didn't read the so-and-so right. I literally don't know if you can make a right choice with the way that was drawn up. They simply found a way to creatively send more guys than they had on one side, and the O-line was helpless. If the tackle even spots, and I don't know enough about the protection that was called, so I can't tell you. Yeah. Even if the tackle sees the corner, who did a great job of disguising, by the way, and shifts inside, that end still gets a free run. This is certainly a lose-lose proposition at that point, and what truly makes it a great call.
So maybe next week when we have the show, we'll probably have a official pick, I guess.
Oh, of course.
Hopefully, yeah. But right now, my lean is Philadelphia. I hope I'm wrong, obviously. Homer. I hate that team with 1,000 Suns. Are you kidding me?
Sure thing, Jaworski.
So, yeah. All right, let's react to some of these coaching hires. We had 4 jobs we filled in the last 7 days since our last podcast, Kyle.
Yeah.
Where we react to the first one here. The big, of course, they're always big because it's the freaking Cowboys. Brian Schottenheimer now elevated to head coach. Any quick thoughts on that one?
What? I'm sorry.
Marty's kid.
I think Marty gets a bad rap, but I think his son's.
I love Marty.
Yeah, I think his kid's going to get an even worse rap because Jerry Jones puts him in a position to fail already.
I agree with that
If
one.
his name were Brian Smith, he wouldn't get this job.
It feels like a retread hire. It's his first head coaching job, but still,
$1,000,000,000.
That's how I feel.
Which, by the way, if you're going to retread, can you not pick the son of a guy who's known for not getting it done when your team is currently in a fucking way of life not getting it done?
Yeah, I agree. All right, the Raiders go to Pete Carroll. I don't want to insult the guy since a retread, man, but he's 72 years old. He looks great though.
Retread, dude. This guy is a can of Ensure. That's how you're trying to energize your eyes, for fuck's sake. Listen, and I get it. I know that Petey doesn't act his age. I have my issues with Pete Carroll, but in this instance, golly, it feels like the right hire. I'm not going to bullshit. And granted, I don't think he's there to get them to a Super Bowl. First of all, he's too damn old to do that. Like, if you need 3 years to get to the Super Bowl at least, which I feel like the Raiders do in the division that they're, which, by the way, can we look at the fucking coaching tree in the AFC West right now? Walk through it. Andy Reid, Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, and Pete Carroll.
All four guys are
Super
Hall
Bowl
of Fame and Hall of Fame
made it to the Super Bowl. Not
Hall of
everybody
Famers
won
too.
one, but
And
they
Hall
all
of Famers.
made it to the Super Bowl.
All four guys are probably Hall of Famers.
Yeah,
all four guys. I put Jim Harbaugh in the Hall of Famer at this point now.
Sure.
Yeah. Super Bowl four.
The argument against him being in the Pro Football Hall of Fame would be that he hasn't had enough
Time
pro
served.
experience.
Time served. Yeah.
But if he keeps trending the way he is in San Diego, he'll be in the conversation. He won't be a first balloter. Sean Payton probably would be. Andy Reid, bitch, please, he might be the GOAT. Pete Carroll, there's people that would do that first ballot. I think I would too, regardless about how I feel about him.
Yeah, of course. The other guy here, so local for you, of course, Liam Cohen in Jacksonville.
Listen, okay, let's get one thing straight. The guy at one point coached at Brown University at the Ivy League. Okay. To put it, your pardon expression, lightly, this guy's hue does not fit in Duval County. So when his first Duval at the press conference didn't sound very good, you shouldn't have been surprised. That being said, literally everything else this guy says was gold and what needed to be heard. I mean, we could get into more detail about it, but I'd prefer you listen to me and Travis chop it up tomorrow night on the Duval Dive podcast. But, by the way, subscribe to the damn Duval Dive YouTube channel.
Absolutely, guys. Do that, please. Please do that for my boy Kyle.
But I will start with, he definitely dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's that people in Duval wanted to hear. Right. I generally like it. People think he's a one and done. Maybe he is. But I think the bigger deal is less Liam Cohen and more Trent Baalke being out of the building. Also, Tony Baselli is going to be given some sort of a football-related role, something that they haven't had in a long time. Trent Baalke was making too many football decisions in that space. Yeah. And so, but yeah, I think Cohen, it makes sense as a hire. I like more what they've done with the front office in general as well. Shad Khan is actually doing something. If Cowboys fans saw their franchise, saw Chera doing with his franchise what Shad Khan is currently doing with his, I really think they would be just as excited as the Duval Devout currently are. I'll put it that way.
Right. And finally,
by the way, Liam Cohen's energy, very similar to a young Pete Carroll.
Ooh, I like that.
He's excited about fucking everything.
So that's why Pete Carroll stays young, right? Come on now.
Yeah.
All right. And finally, Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn takes the Jets.
Boy, howdy. I really, really enjoy the Man Campbell-esque energy coming from this dude.
Do you want to? I have it right here. I'll play the press.
Please, let the people know what I'm reacting to.
The press conference. It was introduced, I think, yesterday.
Yes, yesterday.
Give me 1 second. Let me just bring it up real quick. But he had a lot of energy, though.
I'm going to keep saying "do it" to stall for you.
Here is our new Jets coach, Aaron Glenn, on his first. No, it's not in here. There he goes.
We're the freaking New York Jets. We're built for this. Listen, I want this job. I interviewed for a number of them, but I wanted this job. We're the freaking New York Jets.
Oh my God. That's so Man Campbell.
I was most impressed by, but that is Man Campbell AF, is it not? And granted, it's a New York version because there's no physical violence implied. So
they asked him also yesterday about Aaron Rodgers' future, and he says right now we are now in evaluation mode. So no clear.
Not just that. The way he took control of the room and said, and if you ask me that,
yes,
I'm going to give you the same answer.
Right.
To save your time.
Yes. Love the guy.
What do you look for in a quarterback? Looking for the mentally tough and physically tough. You're not going to get me. Now, we all know he wanted to say motherfucker, but he didn't.
This is why you say it on this show.
And like, listen, I joke about that, but still he did it in a playful fashion.
Yeah.
He wasn't trying to pee on them per se to dominate them.
Right.
But he was like, guys, you know it. I know it. It was very Tyrion Lannister. If Tyrion Lannister were like not a little person and were in the coaching tree of Pete Carroll, or excuse me, Dan Campbell.
And for the folks listening to the podcast, that is a Game of Thrones reference for the record, in case you didn't.
And you don't know, go find out. Damn it!
Yeah, go fix your life. Right?
Your life. That's right.
Yeah. All right, one more thing. We get you out of here. So I mentioned earlier, I want to cover this. So you remember Tyreek Hill at the end of the year?
Yes.
He basically was frustrated. He wanted out.
He said he wanted to get traded. Put it bluntly.
He didn't say trade. He said I want out. I'm done. I'm out. He didn't say but that's how he interpreted that, as though he wanted to be traded to another team, whatever it be. Well, he finally clarified his statement on a live stream, I think 2 days ago. Basically saying that what he said came out of frustration. He just wants more dogs in the team, this and that. He wants to put more pressure on the Dolphins to fix the problems, quote unquote, fix the problems. And that he didn't say he was committed to staying in Miami, but he did say that he just said he was just frustrated. That came out of frustration more than anything else.
Of course.
So he didn't really clarify.
I said as much either on this show or on the Student of the Game podcast.
Yeah,
I think we made way too much of it, but I'm not mad at the media for reporting.
But I gotta say this though, Kyle, and think about this weeks since it's happened. If I'm the Dolphins, I trade him.
I mean,
get what you can back for him now,
buddy. What you're doing is nothing more. Alleged wrestling fan. What you're doing is nothing more than the Ted DiBiase defense. Everybody's got a price.
Right. Like, can you get at least a second rounder for him?
Only a second?
You think you get a first? You think still get a first?
You could probably get a first and change.
I don't think that. There are teams that can use him right now, contending teams. The Chiefs probably will be one of those, of course.
Oh, God.
Although I wanted the salary will work on that one. But what about the Chargers? They now have salary freedom now. What about the Commanders? The one I've been saying since the end of the year, the Packers can use him.
Oh God, that would be scary, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So
I know that Green Bay fans would love that pick.
And I think the Dolphins have enough weapons now too, also, to say, you know what, you can go. We have enough
without and here the main problem is if you're a team that's already good, your pick is less reflective.
Yeah.
Of value. So we'll add that as well. But
right.
I have to put on the table.
We saw
we saw James Cook.
Yeah.
At the Bills.
That's another one. The Buffalo Bills can use him. We saw this year alone. Elite receivers go. Hell, we used to mention the Bills. We saw Murray Cooper go to Buffalo, got traded. We saw Devontae Adams go to the Jets. Obviously didn't work out, but he still played well toward the end of the year. There is a market now for these kind of moves now to be made. And I think if I'm the Dolphins, given where you're at now as a franchise, and given the value Tyreek Hill probably still has right now at age 30, right now, there's no better time right now to trade him right now.
I mean, yeah, he's still in buy mode. Now, granted, you would. Here's the thing. His value will go down a bit because he does have some surgeries.
Yeah.
His value will go down a bit because he's not a franchise player the thing about franchise players who play outside the hashes is their shelf life at that level of production is limited. I don't think I'm breaking news here. Okay.
Yes.
I don't think he's currently in that space,
right.
But he's still, if his value was the multiple picks that the Dolphins sent, which granted was inflated value, the key would be talking the Dolphins back down to something that makes sense as a number. And I think one first round pick. And if you're the Bills, you might have to throw in a second or something in there too, maybe a first and a third. I don't know. Granted, I'm not saying I think he's worth this. I'm not saying I make this move. as the Bills, but I'm talking about, what I perceive they'd have to do for the Dolphins to bite.
Yeah.
And they need so much defense.
Like, could you get if not a first? You said they probably would go first if they make it into a bidding war, but maybe a second and fourth, second and fifth.
Tyreek would need a first round pick to move out of Miami. A first round pick would have to be part of the deal in my mind.
And I think they could get that because of the fact that they can create a bidding war. There'll be teams that are looking at and say, we'll bring them in here.
Maybe.
Teams that are on the cusp of competing for Super Bowl. Teams as mentioned.
The issue is, if they don't move him during the draft, they probably won't move him till around camp. And that means whoever gets him would have to integrate him, and whoever they get or whatever they get may not be immediately useful at the start of the year. So all those are factors.
So then I'll close this then. Percentage of chances he gets traded before a draft?
50-50.
Ooh.
I don't think it happens, EJ.
At all?
I don't think he gets traded.
At all.
Because his contract is too hefty. Granted, once it runs out, which it's going to do soon.
I think it's 2 more years on the deal, I think.
He's going to retire from football in general. So it's not like they would have to worry about re-signing him in the future or any of that crap.
Well, retire from football. All those kids he has to keep playing.
Actually, you know what? We're talking all these possibilities. There's one we haven't considered, and it depends on what they do with their current quarterback. But you need somebody who is currently doing what the Niners have done in the past and are kicking ass with a rookie contract. You mentioned the Red Tails already, and that's a great job by you.
Yeah.
If somehow they move off of Sam Darnold, you got to think the Vikings think about it to give J.J. McCarthy as many weapons. Can you imagine a young quarterback who's already, by the way, famous for not being asked to do too much, but doing well when he's asked to do something, as McCarthy was on that national championship team with Jim Harbaugh, right? Mm-hmm. Can you imagine any quarterback with decent protection and Justin Jefferson and Tyreek Hill on the same field? Holy shit.
And indoors.
Okay, but that, to me, that's kind of a downside too, because that you don't win postseason indoors.
Unless everything's going through you. I mean, they were 14-3 this year, and on the verge of having number one seed.
I mean, so bumpy. You know what I'm saying?
So I mean, anything's possible. But
I would put the Broncos on the list.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Again, same situation.
Would Tyreek want to play with Bo Nix? See, there's an element of with Tyreek. Does Tyreek get moved by playing with a rookie? Unless it's Jaden Daniels, I have my doubts. Would he be moved playing with Michael Penix? First of all, I don't think the Falcons need another freaking offensive weapon. That's a whole separate question. But, I don't think that happens. I don't think that works.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that Casey's in play. If it costs from if it's the right price, of course.
I don't think so.
And if Patty actually decides to nudge them
if Casey is in play, no, they're not. They're not going to pay that money. They're not going to pay that money. They're not going to do it
because what they've done since training him has worked. To your point, so maybe you're right. All right, Kyle, plug away. I guess great show today, man.
Hey, this is what I do. #talent. Thanks for having me on again, brother. Right. Of course, an honor, joy, and privilege to do it every week here on the Student Game Report of Earnestly Speaking. Of course, I am Kyle Nash, the student of the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as the student of the game. Check out my writings with the Fans First Sports Network covering the Orlando Magic and the Jacksonville Jaguars. My work also on the Duval Dive with Travis D. Holmes of Big Cat Country. Check that out. That pod is 7:30. On Wednesday nights, Eastern, of course. We'll be reacting to Liam Cohen and a few other things. That should be fun, so check that out. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel for the Duval Dive. Also, my work with the Black and Gold Banneret, covering basketball and football. The Night Shift podcast, we just recorded that last night. That should be up this morning. And then also the Black and Gold Banneret.com. I broke news on women's basketball. Apparently, that's the thing I do now. Make sure you check that out, and our writings on the football team. Frosty's in the building. Check out our assistant coach tracker, as he has actually filled out his entire staff. blackandgoldbanneret.com, the SB Nation site, by the way, for the UCF. Yeah, so check that out. Student of the Game podcast. Duh. It will go at Wednesday at 9 p.m., though I will be at Edition Financial Arena covering UCF women's basketball as Satia Messer faces her old team from 2 years ago where she was an assistant in the Baylor Bears. Could be a rough one for UCF, but I will be there to talk with Coach Messer about it after the game, so make sure you check that out on the Black Gold Banner YouTube channel as well. EJ Christian had a lot of fun as always, but until next time, class dismissed.
All right, that was Kyle Nash again, Studio Report, as you do every week on the podcast. And normally I don't add extra segments to those episodes, but I do want to react, to the latest in the saga of the Miami Heat versus Jimmy Butler. And if you guys saw yesterday rather, Jimmy Butler was once again suspended by the Heat for the third time, I think, in about a month. This time indefinitely and without pay for allegedly, but what he did apparently, leaving practice after being told. So the game last night against Orlando, he was supposed to come back from his 2-game suspension, and he came to practice, and he was told he will not be starting the game. To which he walked out out of practice, and the team, reacted accordingly. Look, these two sides, they have to absolve the situation, and the way to absolve it, they got to trade him as soon as they can. His price is not going to get higher than it is. In fact, his value is diminishing by the minute. So the Heat at this point just has to get rid of it for the sake of the team, especially too. A team that's right now hovering around 16 in the Eastern Conference, very competitive, even a Jimmy Butler. And I think it's unfair to the team right now and these young kids on the team that are playing very well for the record, to have this situation lingering over their heads. But what also this situation also magnifies is that Jimmy Butler has no leverage. None. Now, he has a player option in June that he can exercise at $2 million. He has set on record that he will not opt in. He wants to be out of Miami. It doesn't care where he goes. And actually, to be honest with you, if I'm a Heat fan like myself, you see the back here, the little there he is right there, the little pendant there. You want him to opt out because at this point, if you were the Miami Heat, you covet that cap space. Jimmy Butler is not your future anymore. So you got to try to get obviously Heat want to get an asset back or assets back for him, but at this point, given what the situation is right now, you're not going to get even half a value for him, which at this point is fine because I think that the priority for the Heat should be coveting cap room for for the future, and at $50 million plus that you'll have on the books freed up to spend on whoever they choose to spend it on. But I'm fascinated by this too, also because of Jimmy Butler's angle. He's going to scorched earth because I think he knows he has no options here, nothing here, because he is a diminishing asset. No team at this point has even indicated that they want to pay a guy at 36 years old who is a descending player the kind of money he's looking for. And him acting out this way as he has is only hurting his value, not helping it. I think the only team that's actually even shown remote interest in taking Jimmy on is the Phoenix Suns, but then they want to trade away Bradley Beal, which for me, again, I'm not opposed to Bradley Beal coming to Miami. What I am opposed of is Bradley Beal coming to Miami with a no trade clause with 3+ years left on his contract. So if the Heat wanted to move him, they couldn't move him unless unless he decides to drop his clause. And Pat Riley's, there's been an indication that the Heat didn't even sign him or try to trade for him 2 years ago because of that no trade clause. So that's what you have there. But in the case of Jimmy Butler, there's a lot of people who have a lot of comments about the situation in terms of, well, he's not being traded fairly. Most folks, I think, side with the Heat here. I think Jimmy is starting to realize that Pat Riley is Pat Riley for a reason. Like, this is not his first rodeo. Like, if you're a Heat fan, you know that this is not new. Okay, Pat Riley, for all the success he's had through 30 years, he's also has had contentious situations like this in recent years. But stars bigger than Jimmy Butler. Okay, do we not forget Shaquille O'Neal 17 years ago? About 2 years after winning the title, Shaq was complaining about this and that, about Pat Riley, about certain things, and demanded to be traded, and Pat Riley did not budge until he was ready to do it. What about LeBron James? LeBron James, obviously it didn't get his volatile Shaq situation, but LeBron James and Pat Riley had a tiff, and of course Dwayne Wade, the greatest player in the history of the franchise. So again, Pat Riley is doing what's best for the team, whether or not you agree or disagree with it. And what Jimmy Butler is learning is that what he did in Philadelphia, what he did in Minnesota, Chicago, is not going to fly in Miami, and he needs to buck up and just deal with it. If I'm Jimmy Butler, if you want to spite the Heat, what you should do is probably opt into a $52 million contract for 1 more year. Of course, that hurts his, what he wants, because he wants an extra 2 or 3 years on his current deal, which he's not going to get at this point because, again, he's a descending player. But the way he's going about doing this, it's horrible. It's asinine, and he should be embarrassed. Jimmy Butler should be embarrassed about how he's operating right now. There was no way, no world. Well, look, I would say no world, because there are really bad teams who make bad decisions, of course, to do things like that. But there's no world where the Miami Heat can justify paying you, a guy who barely plays during the season as is anyway. Okay, yes, we've had success with Jimmy Butler going to the finals twice. Okay, but you barely play as is. Okay, when you do play, you're not moving the needle in the same way you did even 2 years ago. Okay, we're a playing team pretty much every year, even with you on the roster. Okay, and now we want to stifle our potential cap flexibility to make you happy. No, you're not Dwayne Wade. You're not LeBron James either. There are only 3 players in this league right now. 3 players in the league right now that I would even consider paying that kind of money he's looking for at this age tier that he's at now. And it's LeBron James, it's Kevin Durant, and it's Steph Curry. And none of those guys are you are. Okay? I think Jimmy Butler has a very false sense of who he really is in the league. Like, we did our NBA top 25 players rankings before the year started. I don't think any of us, myself, Chris Bannick, Zach DeGenerate, had Jimmy Butler in our top 25. I initially had him in there, and I took him out last minute. How can I justify paying you, the same player, that kind of money? It makes no sense. It is, I'll say it again, it is absolute malpractice for Pat Riley and the Heat to even consider paying that guy an additional, 2 years, 3 years, at the price tag of $50+ million. It's malpractice. It's not good for the Heat. It's not good for the team. It's not good for the future. Sorry, you're not Kobe Bryant. Okay, you're Jimmy Butler. Who the fuck are you? Dwayne Wade couldn't pass this whole situation. Neither LeBron James or Shaq. All 2 of those 3 of those guys are top 10 players of all time, arguably. Who are you? Yes, Heat fan, grateful for Jimmy Butler, what he's done for this franchise 30 years, but this is a business. This is just a business, and it is malpractice. So, and I think he knows that. That's why he's acting the way he is. He knows that. He has no other options. So the only thing he can do to hurt the Heat is to opt in the contract. But then he has to play and prove himself. And I don't think he'll do that. So if I'm the Heat, you try to trade him as much as you can. But at this point now, too, also, if you can't trade him next 2 weeks, because the trade deadline's around the corner, you just grin and bear it send him home until the year's over, and then let him decide to opt out his contract in June, if he decides to do that, which I think he will. I think for all indications that he will do that. But I don't think he'll get the money he thinks he's getting. I don't think he realizes his value is as high as he thinks it is. Now, granted, I say that, but there always is a team or two who will be silly enough to take a chance on that. But that's just that. Anyway, Earnestly podcast across all podcast platforms. YouTube page at youtube.com/Earnest Christian. Thanks to Kyle once again coming to the pod to doing the same report. We got more podcasts coming this week, and we will talk to you guys soon. Take it guys easy. Have a good week. It is Super Bowl time. We got 2 weeks ago, and we will talk to you guys later. Thank you.